Hello from Broadcast Alley, TechStrong TV. Lisa Martin here, finishing day 3 of wall-to-wall coverage from TechStrong TV. We've had some amazing conversations, as you know, because you've been tuning in live. All of our content is going to be available on the socials on demand by at least next week. So if there's anything you loved and you missed it, or you want to watch it again, no worries, we got you covered. Our next guest comes back to us. Eran Kinsbruner is here, the VP of Portfolio Marketing at Checkmarx. Eran, great to have you back on TechStrong, gang.
Thank you, happy to be here again. An amazing show, and always love to talk to you guys.
Yeah, so give us a recap of RSA. This is the end of day 3.
Yep.
You got in over the weekend from Boston.
Yep.
Your perspective, you're new to Checkmarx, but you're not new to the industry, you're not new to the portfolio.
Yep.
You're a veteran of cybersecurity. What have you seen that's really impressed you this week?
So we have had many conversations, some of them, of course, about AI, agentic AI. Yeah. Some of the conversations were about concerns, especially in the reality of security, cybersecurity. How is AI going to either add more risks while it solves other? Yeah. So this adoption of AI within RSAC was a main topic during this week. Again, good and bad.
Yeah.
At Checkmarx, we hope that it will actually turn to the good side, protecting AI, code generation, and things like that. That was one thing. The other thing, which was very, very clear, is the shift in power, responsibility towards the developers. This shift left that everyone is talking about, that's fine, but there were many domains that shifted left over the past few years. We believe, and we hear it this week, that security, app security, the power, the responsibility, and the concerns as well, is shifting more towards the developers. And these developers are now going to actually be looking for better, more efficient solutions, which enhances their developer experience, but also supports the jobs that needs to be done, right? Coding fast, secure, high quality, high performance.
What are some of the concerns? I want to talk about the optimal developer experience, but what are some of the concerns that you're hearing, and how do you respond in your current role with, we got this?
Yep. So there are many challenges that developers are facing. So it comes with a few words: scale, trust, and fitness to their workflows. And I will break these down. So when talking about scale, today everyone is using tons of open source libraries. I would say 80 to 90% of the code that developers are using today is not even theirs. Okay, they're using AI, they're using open source libraries, and they're also adding their own proprietary code.
Okay.
So the scale and the amount of code that is being added, I'm aware of about 700,000 new libraries, packages on just the NPM, the Node.js registry. Wow. Okay, so this is a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so developers are kind of exposed to way more lines of code and kind of scaled code repositories that they need to protect while they're using it. Yeah. So that's the scale. The second thing is trust. Can they actually trust the tools, whether they're coming within a platform engineering portfolio or they're just tools that are part of their DevSecOps tech stack? Can they trust what they're actually getting in response, like less false positive, less noise, and this kind of thing? And lastly, as I mentioned, is the fitness to their workflow. Okay, developers are not top security engineers,
right? And
they need everything that serves them to be within their workflow, integrated into their pipelines, integrated into their IDEs, and so forth. Within Checkmarx, we actually made a few announcements this week. I'll just give a short recap, and we have them all on our website, but ASPM in the IDE, pre-commit secret detection, integrations with Artifactory from JFrog, right? Head of engineering dashboards. These are all developer experience focused enhancements that we have done to actually tackle everything that I've just mentioned. High scale code repositories, trust, and fitness to their workflows. So that's kind of what we are hearing and how we respond.
And none of those are negotiables these days. The scale is continuing to grow.
Right.
The trust is absolutely critical for every industry, every organization, and the ability for them to be able to do their jobs as so much is coming at them is essential for their workflows to be optimal and successful.
I completely agree, and you mentioned scale. Many of our customers, huge enterprise customers, they have hundreds of development teams.
Yeah.
Okay, and thousands of pipelines. So just to give you a sense of the scale, right? Checkmarx is scanning on a given month about 450 billion lines of code.
Wow.
Okay? So I think that kind of
That's
gets you the feeling of the scale that we are dealing with.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah.
And that's not going to go down, that's only going to go up, right?
It's just going up.
Yes.
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 I saw this really cool LinkedIn post from you, and if you guys check out Eran's post on LinkedIn, we're going to break it down now, where you said you're exploring how pre-commit security, and I want to understand that concept, checks and secrets detection, how that can stop exposed credentials before they even hit a repository. First of all, define pre-commit security checks, define secrets detection, and why in 2025, as the threat landscape changes so much, it's now more important than it's ever been.
Yeah. So I'll define secrets detection. Secrets are basically anything that kind of developers use to engage or to interact with other components, whether it's API tokens, password, usernames, passwords, whatever access credentials that they need to get to different systems, okay? So these are kind of a very high level, like your username and password, your email address,
that's
this kind of thing. Yeah, that's a secret.
Okay.
Right, and when this is already exposed, that's too late, okay? When it's already getting its kind of way towards a public repository, a shared repository, that's already too late. It might be found later on, it might not, okay? So that's where the pre-commit comes into play.
Okay.
We believe, and we actually talk to our customers and serves them. Actually, this feature comes as a request from one of our customers, few of our customers actually.
I'm sure.
And it actually kind of gives them a safe way to create their source code. So every time that actually they run or they write a line of code, if they are exposing a specific secret, this pre-commit mechanism, framework if you like, give them a heads up or a trigger alert, and actually gives them the exact file where this secret is being exposed, and they can remediate it, remove it, before it actually makes its way to the shared repository. Once they're doing that, it's like win-win-win, because A, they're obviously protecting their entire code base, B, they're saving a lot of engineering rework, and which costs a lot of money, right? Because once you need to remediate after it was already in a shared repository, it costs a lot of money, right? Rebuilds, retesting, and rescanning and everything. So we're trying to prevent and block these secrets at the source, okay? So as a developer is writing his piece of code, we do this pre-commit scan and give him the alert. It can save a lot of headaches, money, and protect the business at the end of the day.
Absolutely. It seems like that's a no-brainer these days, because you need to pull this back, secure your code at the source. Why are some organizations not doing that yet?
So awareness, and that's one thing. But second, developers find it quite, easy to not hide these secrets, because it's just in my local environment. It's very easy for me not to put it outside or hash it or whatever. So sometimes developers find it very convenient to use or to actually expose the secrets, but it's just in their sandbox, it's just in a pre-commit environment, and that's the mistake, because you forget about it and then it just slips to production.
It's too far downstream by that point.
Yeah, and that's one thing. The second is when you are relying on AI code generation, right? And you're kind of just giving the secret to an AI tool that will generate additional methods, additional source code, right? You also rely a lot of that we talked about trust, right? You rely on the AI to take care of this pre-commit, which you shouldn't. No. So it's about education, about awareness for developers, and sometimes taking them away from their comfort zone. And this pre-commit thing actually keeps them very comfortable, because it's an automated process. They don't need to do anything manually. They just need to add kind of a line of configuration to the pre-commit build, and that's it. It's one line. Checkmarx does the rest. Okay. After you do this, every new line of code, every secret that is being exposed will be scanned, alerted, and moved away autonomously.
So you mentioned the comfort zone thing, and that's one of the things that we talk about with the developers, the security folks, the DevSecOps movement, and how there's a lot of synergies in how they behave, yet there's cultural and behavioral challenges there.
Yes.
So Checkmarx has found a way, let's keep this in their comfort zone. So what you're what I'm hearing is you're empowering developers
Yes.
to stay in that comfort zone, but also to become proactive.
Yes.
Which is critical.
100% agreed, and this is exactly why we also announced this week, in addition to our very rich plugin that we have in the IDE, this ASPM. So we're trying to serve the developers where they are, where they live, and that's the IDE.
Yeah.
So many of the components that sometimes were in the IDE and then on our web Checkmarx One platform, we are bringing them as close as possible to the developers, to your point, to educate them, to empower them to be security conscious, and obviously by that prevent security vulnerabilities from slipping to production.
Are you seeing more of an appetite from the developers to embrace this?
Yes.
Rather, because it doesn't sound like you're impeding what they know and what they like to do. You're in, like I said earlier, it's empowerment.
Yes. So I met one of our large financial customer this morning, and he's the head of engineering. You can't get higher than that.
Yeah.
And the head of engineering said it very clear. He needs his developers to have as less noise as possible to get the job done.
Yes.
And when you empower developers, even though they're not security experts, to be well educated, autonomously remediate things that are kind of happening almost every day. We talked about the scale earlier, right? So when security is a no-brainer and it's part of the flow in a more easy, convenient way for developers, they will adopt it.
Yeah.
They will become security champions because they see, okay, it's part of like any other automated testing that has been in the market for many years. So it's another validation that we are doing, and it fits in the cycle. It goes within the CI/CD pipeline up until production. So I think as you get more developers to understand the value of automated application security, shifting it left, making it convenient, as autonomous as possible, you'll get the adoption, you'll get actually even less cybersecurity attacks at the end of the day.
So helping them get ahead of application risk without slowing down development, because that's what they want to go fast.
That's the most important thing. You know, DevOps just came to solve that, right? Quality, velocity, value to the market, to the business, and this security sometimes interrupts this velocity. So when you can,
and then you get resistance, right? Yes.
Exactly.
Do you see Checkmarx as a facilitator of the DevSecOps movement maturing in the next year or two?
I think that with what we are currently bringing to the market, you know, all the dev experience enhancements and the agentic AI vision that we announced it also this week at RSA, I think this is definitely going to put us in front of more and more developer communities because we are innovating, we are solving real issues, real challenges that developers face. We are meeting with them day in and day out. We actually have one of the biggest databases of malicious packages that we are scanning. So we are here to serve the developers and make their lives much easier.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the empowerment, but what I'm also sensing is you're bringing in customer feedback, which is always critical.
Yes.
Customers saying, hey, Checkmarx, we need this because of these issues. What is that customer feedback loop like? Because it sounds like, and I know at most organizations, they should be critical to the development of the technologies, especially in an industry like cybersecurity.
So we are truly believers in the customer engagement, customer feedback. We act on all the customer feedback that we are getting. We run almost on a monthly or bi-monthly basis customer advisory boards across regions, across geographies, because each region, by the way, even each vertical, financial, insurance, retail, telco, you name it, right? They have their own requirements from an AppSec perspective. So we are actually doing targeted summits for verticals, for customers, and collecting a lot of feedback and acting upon that. The product management, the CPO, and everyone else is fully involved, fully engaged, so we're collecting feedback. This week we did a few cabs already with a segments of customers, and we collected precious feedback that we're going to implement. Agentic AI, dev experience, shift left, all these things are actually just going to improve more and more as we collect more feedback from customers.
And that's just foundational to the business, is that customer feedback.
Yep.
Do you see any, from a vertical perspective, you've got the vertical focus with the cabs, are they prioritized? Are they all horizontal in terms of prioritization? Because I imagine every industry is vulnerable.
Yep.
Nobody's safe.
No one is safe, and they're all definitely concerned about security, concerned about AI. So you'll see a lot of common themes, concerns, challenges across these verticals.
A lot of commonalities. Okay.
Yeah.
That must help product development.
Yeah, we have definitely, it helps us focus.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But on the other hand, they have different business needs. Right?
Sure.
A financial organization will have a different feature set or different objective, especially when you're dealing with developers, right? Developers want less noise, and they are seeing more noise in the financial, by the way. FIS, financial and insurance.
Why is that?
They have a lot of exposure of third-party databases, tons of APIs and integrations. So the FIS in our mind is the most challenging one and the more demanding one. But retail, okay, they have their own exposure, right? Open source libraries and the likes, right? So SCA is definitely critical for them. And at the end of the day, also the supply chain, the software supply chain. I think we talked about it earlier this week at TechStrong TV. The software supply chain today is by far more advanced and more complex than what it used to be.
Oh, absolutely.
So when you're just thinking about code to cloud within a modern software supply chain, it's crazy, compared to a few years ago, right? You have containers, you have infrastructure as code, you have tons of open source libraries, dependencies, right? Runtime security. You need to take care of everything, every line of code throughout this journey, okay? And by the way, in this journey, you have multiple personas as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not just the developers.
It's the developers.
I imagine, too, from a business value perspective, nobody wants to be the next headline. The brand reputation, brands can be ruined if they're the next headline. So from a business impact perspective, how do you enable the CISOs to up-level the conversation to their CEO and maybe to their board, showing the business impact? Maybe it's better P&L, revenue streams that Checkmark's technology actually delivers to that business.
That's a great question, and CISOs are among our top target personas, if you like. We actually had a month ago a very successful webinar with the CISO of Michael's stores, right? Huge retailer, everyone knows them. And what I like about the CISO of Michael's, he said that he's enforcing within his business what he calls the Trinity of Architects. Okay, and he's kind of divided that Trinity, like three, into the developer architect, the solution or the security architect, and the CISO itself. Okay. And when he believes that when every architect within this Trinity engages, kind of is on the same page, brought to the table earlier in the development cycle. They are all aligned, they are all in sync, and that's why, by the way, that's how they do business. Okay, they make sure that the development architect, the AppSec architect, the chief security architect, they are all brought into the loop very early in the software development lifecycle. And they're actually seeing a great success when they're implementing that. So cross-team alignment, collaboration, that's what CISO cares about these days, and definitely getting the right tools in front of these Trinity personas, if you like, is also a very key to the success.
That Trinity alignment is so important because it's collaboration. And being able to have that earlier on in the process probably takes some of the complexity out because the roles are clearly defined. They understand how they're each contributing to software development in the way that they're comfortable, in the way that they expect the experience will continue to be.
Less noise, more focus on business values per each of these domains or verticals within the company. And when you're dealing with a company like Michael's, they're huge. Okay, they have tens and thousands of stores, throughout the US and Canada. So they have a huge challenge to protect the business. Okay. So the alignment is a key for them. It is key.
It should be a KPI.
It should be a KPI.
I think. I really think so. Give me your perspectives as we're kind of wrapping up here on the state of cybersecurity. I imagine as an expert, you've been to many RSAs over the years. TechStrong's been covering it for 10 years, but I know it goes way back to the early 2000s. We recently actually on TechStrong Gang, I think it was a couple weeks ago, talked about MITRE and the contract that almost expired. And the CVE program. Thankfully, CISA came to the rescue. But I know that Checkmark supports the need for MITRE. What do you see as the state of the industry in 2025?
So I think this was kind of a red flag or a warning sign for many organizations.
And it came up suddenly.
It came up suddenly, and that's kind of when you take a break and reevaluate.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your application security posture? What's your strategy? Who are you working with? Okay, to make sure that if something like that happens, who got your back? Okay, who is covering you from a malicious package coverage protection? This kind of things, secret detection, as I mentioned earlier, API security, container security, all these scanners, all these engines, and we support Mitra, and we actually came out with our own article exactly the same day that this incident happened.
Okay, I'll check
reassuring the market and our customers, most importantly, that no matter what, we have, as I mentioned earlier, the biggest database of packages. We have our own research lab called CX10, for zero-day detection and prevention. So we have our own analysts that are taking care of it. That's their daily job, covering NPMs on Node.js, NuGet, .NET packages, Java packages, whatever you need, we are covering that as an independent vendor and solution to our enterprise customer. So again, if something happens, they have us to depend on, and we're doing the best we can.
And they can have the confidence.
And
I'm a longtime marketer, and I think confidence isn't a marketing fluff term. It's critical.
You need,
especially today with how fast things are moving, and we talked about scale in the beginning. That's not going to slow down.
I agree, and confidence, like you have life insurance, right? When everything goes nice, everything is fine, good. When you have like a bad day, that's when you actually understand who got your back, who can you count on. And we believe within Checkmarx that we have the research lab, we have the engines, we have the technology, and the research and the experience to give our customers what they need.
Customers can count on you, and you're going right where the developers are, where they want you to meet them. Thank you so much, Eran, for talking about why this matters more than ever, really backing things up, securing code at the source, and why it's just an essential element these days. We so appreciate your insights and your time, and we'll be following Checkmarx.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Pleasure to have you. From my guest, I'm Lisa Martin. This wraps up day 3 of RSAC coverage from TechStrong TV. We've had a blast bringing you great content. We hope you enjoyed all of the content we've created. As I mentioned, everything will be available for the socials next week. So if you want to triple watch things or maybe take some notes, you'll have the opportunity. Thank you again for joining us today on day 3. I'll see you tomorrow morning.